You have been waiting for this day for a long time. That thing you wanted so bad is finally here. You were so sure that this was the thing that would finally make you feel complete or fulfilled. But it doesn't feel as good as you thought it would. That vacation, success, money, promotion, whatever it is. And it may have felt good for a while, but it doesn't last forever. Why is it that whatever you get never feels like it's quite enough? That is what we will be talking about in this video. Reason number one is too much thinking about the future. To sum it up basically before we get into it, your fantasies cannot live up to reality. And there is good reason why things are not often as good as we imagine them. We are putting so much stock into a future moment rather than any moment in the present. Alright, so I wanted to visually demonstrate what I mean by imagining things so great that they can't live up to our reality, and then that leads to disappointment and that feelings of feeling like we're not whole or incomplete or why is this not enough. So as you can see, we have a little XY chart here that we probably haven't seen since high school or something, but we have happiness on the Y axis, as it's called, and then we have time on the X. And so when we have these situations that arise in our mind, in our imagination, we think that it's going to lead to long-lasting great deals of happiness. And to see how it just goes up, and it just goes on, we're just riding it out to the sunset. Well, of course, reality is often much different than that. It has a beginning and it leads up to a high point and then, of course, comes down. Because of course nothing lasts forever. And when this actually plays out, there's a huge disconnect from where we thought we should be up here and where reality actually is taking us here. And this disconnect, this dropping down, leads to that feeling of disappointment. So however, if we instead did not create this elaborate fantasy in our minds that this is the thing that's going to make us happy, and of course it never gives lasting happiness, so we're always left back in disappointment, searching, thinking, okay, there must be something else that will give me to this line, which of course is false. So instead, if we just stayed at baseline, that is to say, stayed in the present moment and let whatever level of happiness we do have naturally happen on its own without this imagination, we would actually derive pleasure or enjoyment from that event or that thing that we achieved because we did not create a large and lofty fantasy that reality could not live up to, leading to that feeling of emptiness. So the key in this is to stay present and to notice the mind wandering and wanting to create lofty fantasies that reality cannot live up to. Keep those in check as best we can by just noticing them without necessarily reacting to them. Nothing in the physical universe lasts forever, including the satisfaction of any one particular thing. Nothing does. The sooner that we not only learn, but more importantly, accept this truth, the better off we'll be. And this law of impermanence is kind of in our DNA. So I give an example of a bucket of ice, cold ice water, and you put your hand in that bucket. At first it's freezing, you're like, ooh, I need to get my hand out of here. But then after what, 20, 30 seconds, maybe a minute, your hand starts to get numb, right? And so that example is just showing us how our mind and body adapt to whatever is in front of us. And the same is true with something that we think is going to make us happy. Yes, it may feel really good at first, but then over time, as we adapt, as we become used to that thing, it no longer brings that same level of satisfaction as it did at the very beginning, just like when you put your hand in the ice bath. Now understand that this does not mean we do not try to achieve or have things to look forward to. Not at all. We still need to set goals and try to accomplish things we want to do and have things to look forward to. It's important, actually, that humans do this. We are designed, like we talked about, to set goals and to achieve things. So I don't want it to be confused that we shouldn't desire anything. The point is to keep things into perspective and to remember that no one thing will ever give lasting happiness or a feeling of completeness or wholeness for forever. It has a shelf life. It will end, and that kind of stresses the importance of making sure you understand to not build up these ideas in your head because they will not bring forever lasting satisfaction. But we must be aware and to do our best to not always engage with the mind's desires that can never truly be fulfilled and satisfied. And if we are able to stay in the present moment leading up to that thing that we want, we simply just enjoy that thing that we actually get, what it actually provides us, rather than a disappointment because it does not live up to the mental future constructions of our mind. And then when that thing is done, it's done.